about moving to St. George. And if you do decide to move here, there might be some things that you find surprising when you get here. So what we're gonna do in this video is we're gonna talk about 9 things that we found surprising. We didn't expect this when we moved to St. George. So that's what we're gonna do now. So stay tuned.
What's up, everybody? I'm Sean Azad.
And I'm Courtney Azad, and we're with Keller Williams Realty right here in St. George, Utah. And if this is your first time to the channel and you are, you want to know everything that there is to know about living in St. George, press the subscribe button. We know that a lot of you are watching and not subscribing, so don't forget to do that.
And click on the little bell so you're notified every time a new video comes out.
Because we update new videos every week, usually twice a week.
And if you're watching this video, you're probably thinking, wow, okay, I love St. George, I love the Red Rocks, I love the weather, I can't wait to move out there, but I don't know anything about this area. So what do I do? And I totally get that. That's why you want to reach out to us, because that way we can have that conversation and find out what your needs are. So whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, what you want to do is you want to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email.
Or you can reach out to us via WhatsApp. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back. So number 1 on our list is that it is easier to get used to the really extreme summers than I'd say we expected. I mean, how were you?
Yeah, when you hear like the temperature, like the highs on some days in the summer, like in the mid 110s.
Or like 115.
Yeah, like about 115 range, you're going, oh my gosh, that is swelteringly hot.
And it is.
And it is. And we're not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It does, I mean, that is hot. But again, it's one thing you have to get, when we went in, getting our mind right, we were like, okay, it's not like it came out of left field.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew it was gonna be hot. So we figured it out, we were braced for it, and we also figured out that also, while it does top out some of these days really hot like that, the mornings are the saving grace here because you can actually, if you're looking for outdoor activity to do, really get that in the morning before it starts, because it really actually tops out mid-afternoon. It's actually kind of funny because a lot of places, noon, 1 o'clock is the high.
Yeah.
It's more like 4 here.
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting,
4,
like how hot it gets like as the day progresses. So it kind of tops out around 4 o'clock or so. The evenings are on the warm side during those days for sure. Like
hot. They're hot.
Yeah, on the hot
when
side.
the sun goes down, it's actually not that bad.
It's still pretty hot.
But you can be outside. It's like, we'll be outside when the kids are swimming and, the sun is down and it's fine, right?
Again, if you get your mind right, it's really not that bad. That's it. But yeah, it was surprising because obviously walking in, we were going, and also the dry heat definitely helps.
Yeah, the dry definitely helps a lot. And it's funny though, now that it's fall and it's a little, not chilly, but it's cooler, right? I mean, I went out into Laverkin and had coffee with a friend, and there was a little slight breeze, and I found myself thinking, ooh, like, it's a little cold, even though it was 85, right? But you're just so used to the heat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I found myself almost like wishing it was hot.
And those summer months, really, it kind of is the summer months.
Yeah,
like, it kind of, it tends to not bleed in on the early side or the late side so much. It's really, again.
June, July, August.
So yeah, that mid-June through mid-September, it's hot, and then it tops off of that July-August time. But then as you get past, like the latter half of September, it definitely does start to drop off pretty dramatically.
Pretty dramatically, for sure. So another thing I was surprised about is I would say the landscape here, like the pictures that you see, like if you've never actually been here, pictures and videos don't do it justice. I'd say it's a lot more beautiful. Even like Zion, you've seen all these, phenomenal photographs of Zion because it's very popular among professional photographers. But even when you see it yourself, it almost like doesn't do it justice, right? Like it's more beautiful than I expected, I would say.
No, definitely. I mean, obviously that red rock is legit. I mean, that is striking. I mean, it's just kind of crazy because let's say you're driving, through Nevada or whichever direction you're coming from, and obviously you get your typical landscape is, especially desert landscape, is brown dirt kind of thing. But when you see that red rock kind of like just like over in the horizon, and then you see like, let's say, Pine Mountain out in the horizon too, the contrast especially, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, or even like Snow Canyon is insane. And
Tuacahn is like this outdoor amphitheater, which again, just surrounded by this red rock, which is crazy. Or like Kayenta, which I've talked about before in other videos. But the view there, like the views from some of these houses there, just unbelievable. Again, like where we come from, it's like like ocean views are the thing, and some of these houses are going, I think I might actually take this view over an ocean view, which is just complete hearsay, like like that you just not hearsay, like blasphemy.
Yeah, Yeah, and then I would say, I mean, and also because it's quite easy to get to super high elevation here.
Yeah.
I mean, you drive an hour and you're like, oh, how did I get to 10,000 feet? Yeah.
It's pretty
So
crazy.
it changes the landscape too. So when you're looking for, beautiful fall foliage and that kind of stuff, it's very easy to find stuff like that around here, which is also just, it's a different kind of beauty, but it's also strikingly beautiful in a way that at least we were not expecting, right?
Yeah, the way to kind of think of Utah, I would say, like, is kind of like, let's say, a square plate or whatever, and it's kind of like tipped in a corner where southern Utah is the very
kinda like the
lowest
valley,
elevation.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we're still at like 2,600 feet.
Yeah.
But then it rises
Yeah,
rather
very
dramatically.
high,
Like,
yeah.
just go up 45 minutes, you're in Cedar City, you're about 5,000 feet. And that's just the city, right? Like, obviously, if you go to Pine Valley, which is about also
45
minutes,
minutes,
you're
yeah.
at 7,000 feet.
Yeah.
So you go up elevation rather quickly
Yeah.
from this plateau that we're in.
So another thing that I found surprising, and this is just my own personal experience, we put our kids in school here, and I was really pleasantly surprised by how much the teachers actually care. Where we come from, the schools were good. Like, I was not like...
Yeah, the rate of pilot.
Yeah, I was happy with the schools where we were, but then here I was very surprised by just how involved, like, the teachers were, how much they care. Like, both my kids, they're really engaged with their teachers. They come home every day, telling me stuff about what their teachers said. So, yeah, and, the teachers are very responsive, and I just feel like...
It doesn't
Yeah.
seem like it's more of an emphasis on learning rather than
Yeah.
say just trying to pass a test.
It does
right,
seem
kind of
that
thing.
I've been very, like, looking what their homework is. I've been like, oh, that's a very, like... thoughtful way to teach this. I've
Yeah.
been very happy. Like, surprisingly, more than I expected. It's not like I came here and I was thinking, oh, it's going to be bad schools. No, like, the rankings are good. We looked at it, and that's one of the reasons we decided to live here, but...
Yeah, and also there's options too, right? Like language immersion, lots of language immersion, which again, where we come from is it's more definitely the exception, like the very minor exception, and sort of not the rule.
Yeah.
Here, there's just so, again, especially given the population, so many options if that's something that interests you. And I would say that, as far as like the teaching is concerned, of course, this is anecdotal. We can't really say that this is across the board, but yeah, our experience has been very positive.
Yeah, and then there's also a lot of, very popular, highly ranked charter schools. So, I feel like people have a lot of options, and that's just something that it was above my expectations, I would say.
For sure.
So another thing that I found surprising was how welcoming people are. I mean, people, you'll just, be walking to the grocery store or something. Like the other day, I was walking with our kids to the grocery store, and someone just stopped and started talking to me, genuinely interested, didn't know me at all, right? Genuinely interested in me, and I was like, wow, this person is just being friendly, right?
Yeah.
Whereas,
if you come from a metropolitan area,
like a big city,
tunnel vision,
yeah,
right?
people
You
are
just
like
go,
this, right?
yeah, you're just kind of getting from point A to point B.
Yeah.
Don't want the distraction and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And then here is very small town feel from that place.
Yeah.
But again, we have that small town feel without being super small. We're still a metropolitan area of some sort. It's just obviously not a mega metropolitan area, and it just like you're having the small town feel, but still not being stuck with just I'd say like it's just like a small little main street.
Yeah, with like
something
one
like that.
stoplight.
Yeah, or like one general store or something.
Yeah. So that's another. Yeah, we've been pleasantly surprised by how even our neighbors too. Like all of our neighbors have been so welcoming. Just
Again, anecdotal.
Yes, of course, anecdotal. But, even last night the kids were outside, all playing, all of us neighbors were talking. Yeah, it's been pleasantly surprising by how nice people are.
Yeah, it's almost like one of those like what you think of from back in the day, like people like a neighbor's dog might like offer you some sugar or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of has that feel to it.
Yeah, which actually our neighbors do come by and like drop stuff off at the door.
Exactly. So it does happen. It's not sugar, but like it's
it was laundry detergent.
Yeah. The new sugar.
Yeah. So another thing that I've been surprised by, very pleasantly surprised, like our kids are very involved in sports. Like both Sean and I grew up playing sports like our whole lives, right?
Yeah.
So our kids are the same, right? But where we come from, 3-day weekends or...
It's more opportunity to train.
Yes, it's more opportunity, like spring break, that's when everyone's like training. But here, which I have been very happy with, is whenever there's like a break or a 3-day weekend, at least in our anecdotal experience, like the team doesn't play. Like there's no tournaments, a lot of times practices canceled. So it gives people an opportunity to like maybe go on vacation somewhere. People can spend time doing whatever they want on these weekends, whereas as opposed to like going to some tournament and, watching
Yeah.
your kid play 7 games.
And now, having said that, our kids are not of high school age.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure that as you move up, that once you're in high school, that becomes a much more prominent thing.
Yeah.
But the youth sports,
Yeah.
like the club sports and that kind of thing, it feels like that there is that, like, I guess not respect, but like it is that thoughtfulness, like you said, like of having that 3-day weekend for like people to have a quick little vacation or something.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I remember when I was growing up, like, I wasn't in high school, and I vividly remember one weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, we literally spent at a tournament in Arizona. I mean, and this was normal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so the fact that they don't do that here, I was like, oh, that's not, like, we can go.
You can travel, and you don't feel like your kids are missing out on something.
Yeah, I'm like, we can go do something this weekend.
Yeah.
So another thing that we've been surprised about is there are actually more, like, bars and availability alcoholic options than you'd expect.
Yeah,
right?
which is huge for us because we're big lushes, basically.
No, we're actually not.
But it's nice to have that
yeah, it's
option.
nice to have that option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there are like some restaurants that have a full stock bar.
Yeah.
There's certainly some breweries and where you have that thing. And there are
There's
some
bars,
period.
Even open on Sundays.
Yeah.
Like some bars are open on Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's even vineyards in southern Utah, which I was surprised about.
Yeah.
Mostly because I'm like, grapes.
Which is kind of
grow
funny,
here.
yeah. That's true. I guess two things, right?
Yeah.
Like you can think about the alcohol thing, but then also you think, oh, wow, grapes, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also
Yeah.
like what's obviously important, and then you obviously still have those state, liquor stores. Like there's a few of them sprinkled about in Washington County.
Yeah, but I think, obviously, we're nothing compared to like Las Vegas if you're looking for nightlife, right? I mean, but it is, I found it surprising that it was not as hard as I thought it was going to be to find those options.
Yeah, for sure. And again, that's one of those things where, yeah, you do have options. Again, it's, let's be real, it's not like, again, still grocery stores are a bit limited.
Yeah.
You're limited basically buying beers and I think maybe wine coolers
Yeah.
at the grocery stores. And then obviously your harder stuff, again, are the state-sponsored liquor stores. And then even let's say Costco, they're not selling wine, right?
Yeah.
You're basically, that stuff is, so there are differences and we have other videos referencing that. But as far as but there are options, which is nice. Because again, at the end of the day, it's like, again, if you really needed it, you can go down to Mesquite, like a 40-minute drive basically, and I guess stock up your truck or a car with that.
So another thing that was a little surprising to us, and this is kind of, just kind of joking, is that the Virgin River, which is the main source of water in this area, it's not as big as you'd think.
It's not as grand, yeah. Well, I don't know. Like we see the show Virgin River,
the show, yeah.
And that looks
That's
like a
on
pretty
Netflix.
good. Yeah, that seems like a pretty
But
big river.
that's filmed in Canada,
What?
so.
Okay, I guess it was. I guess I didn't notice the red rocks or they had tons of forests and stuff. Yeah, so the Virgin River is, depending on where you are along the Virgin River's path, you'd be like, that's a river. Like honestly, sometimes you can't even. It feels like you can't even
it's totally
see it.
dry,
Yeah. Or I'm not even sure if it's totally dry, but it's definitely like. It's almost more like a little creek.
Yeah, it's a creek.
Like where you see some brush where the river flows through. So you're like, okay, some water's feeding that. But you're kind of like surprised by it. But it's surprising because that Virgin River carved out the whole gorge.
Yeah.
And then it does go a long ways actually.
Yeah, it does.
So you're going, wow, this is kind of amazing. And it does, when it rains and all stuff, it does fill up a bit. I mean, it's still not.
Well, at
it's
least
not the Mississippi River. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, and as you get closer to Zion, it does get bigger. But here in St. George,
bigger.
Bigger. But here in St. George, it's pretty meager, I would say. So another thing we were surprised about is there is more shopping than you'd think here.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, again, you're not going to be having the shopping options that you'd see down in Vegas. But I mean, they're surprisingly your day-to-day life, you can pretty much get whatever you need, right?
Yeah, we always talk about all the time, for an area of about 200,000 people, we punch way above our weight class when it comes to shopping. We do have, we have Costco, which is huge to me. We obviously have almost all the big box retailers, you have Best Buy, a couple Home Depots, Lowe's, Target, a few more Walmarts, TJ Maxx. We have a bunch of different things, and then also we do have the natural grocers, we have Lynn's and Harmon's.
Yeah.
So we have actually a good amount of shopping. We even have an H&M, which is kind of interesting. So we have a bunch of different shopping, but it obviously isn't all encompassing because again, still at the end of the day, there's only 200,000 people here, so they have to have a certain flow of traffic. Now, what I wish is that a Trader Joe's would come by, and fingers crossed, maybe that might be happening.
Yes, there are rumors that it is coming.
Whispers,
but who knows? I mean,
yeah.
Only time will tell. So the last thing that we're surprised about is, I would say, the dining options. I mean, it's not like you can't find good restaurants here, but it's just that the variety is quite limited, like more limited.
And the depth.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, there are, let's say, different food, like, options, but it doesn't, like, you know, like, let's say in a larger metropolitan area, it's like, it goes, like, there's a lot of restaurants that satisfy that particular genre.
You can pick from, like, 20 different Korean restaurants near your house. Like, that's not how, it's very limited.
It's definitely limited. And again, that's obviously the byproduct of being, and again, a smaller population area, so that's, it is what it is. But it's funny, like we were talking to a neighbor, how they're saying that, you know, they remember when the first sushi restaurant opened. It's kind of blowing our mind because Courtney fed like lived off sushi for like a good couple
Since
years.
I was in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of crazy, like, to think that an area just didn't have sushi altogether. But that's just kind of one of those things where, again, now we have more than one sushi restaurant, but at the same time, it's just not, if you're kind of used to, like, you know, again, a lot of dining options, because, you know, that's just the nature of where you're coming from, just be aware that that's, you know, it's more limited here for sure.
Yeah, I mean, although another thing that was surprising to me, or that is surprising to me, is that it doesn't bother me as much as I thought it would, even though I'm a huge foodie, just because it is so easy to go to Vegas.
Yeah.
So I feel like we can go to Vegas, get our foodie fill, and then come back. So.
Yeah, and here you can still get quality ingredients. So you know, let's say if you are cooking at home and something like that, like, which, let's be real, like for health reasons, probably a good idea.
Yeah, most of us are.
Yeah,
and financial.
Yeah, that's true too.
Every time we go to our kids eat so much. Every time we go to the restaurant, I'm like, you ate that much. I'm gonna look at this bill. Like.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they just
ravenous
creatures.
Yeah.
Yes. But like, what's nice is that when you do get that itch, down, like, Vegas is some of the best culinary options in the world. So like, go an hour and a half or so down to Vegas, and you can just scratch that itch.
So that's it. That's our video.
And remember, we are licensed realtors in the state of Utah. So as much as we do love making these videos, what we love more is to help you with your real estate needs. So whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, what you want to do is you want to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email.
Or you can reach out to us via WhatsApp. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back.